My name's Jeremy Edgel, and I'm having the pleasure of talking to City Councilman of North Las Vegas, Isaac Barron. Isaac Barron, welcome. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks,
I know you're a
Jeremy.
busy guy.
Well, a little bit. Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely. North Las Vegas has more cultivators than any other municipality that are not attached to other dispensaries. So the idea is that if you don't have a dispensary license, then the other dispensaries don't have to sell your product, and you will have spent millions of dollars on a cultivation location for nothing, because the big guys buy out the small guys. One of my associates asked a consultant in Colorado what happens if there are some companies that are vertically integrated and some that are not, and it's just dastardly for everybody. Every legal mind that I've had read this current NAC language came back with the same judgment, that with the current criteria, the only people that get more dispensary licenses are those that already own them. So, am I crazy in my prediction that in 4 years, 70% of the cultivators in North Las Vegas will be out of business? Do I seem crazy?
Gosh, I hope you are. Okay, I really don't know. I haven't seen all the numbers, but you know the potential for the non-aligned cultivators, for them to find challenges that might ultimately hinder the way they do business. The challenges are definitely there. The potential's there. If right now if we have any way to hit that off, I think we have to seriously look at that as a policy change. I am a committed capitalist. I believe that competition has driven our country to be, of course, the leading economy on the planet. And why wouldn't we want to take some of those same issues, some of those same standards that we have for every one of our other industries throughout our country, and apply it also to cannabis? It only makes sense. Give everybody a level playing field. Give everybody a chance to compete. I don't think we're asking for too much.
What could be done? I know there's a hearing at the Grant Sawyer building on January 16th at 10 a.m. That's a Department of Taxation meeting with the state of Nevada to review the current regulations and make their recommendations for the state legislature. What could be done to give it a fair process? Is there a way that people at home could get involved and
I think they could show up that day. Show up and maybe share their views. Probably make a phone call into the state. I'm sure if you have an online, if you have like an online petition, right? Most definitely, people can sign that online petition. I think what we're looking at more than anything else, what we're looking at is for the cultivators in North Las Vegas. We don't want them to have any special treatment. We just want to make sure that everybody's treated the same, that everyone will have an equal opportunity to compete in the market. And this is, one market, one industry that, because it's still relatively in its infancy, we have the opportunity right now to set up something that's positive for a long time to come.
What do you think the impact of cannabis being legal in the whole state is going to have on your kids and your grandkids?
Well, hopefully, to begin with, I'm hoping that we're spending a lot less money on enforcement of cannabis, freeing up more money for instance, for education for my granddaughters. I'm hoping that with more cannabis sales, we're seeing the industry flourish, right?
There's a controversy right now about just that, about how everybody was represented that they would support marijuana because that money would go into infrastructure or education, right? And then there's been a change. What's changed? Why is?
One thing that I've been a little bit disappointed is, of course, that some of the money that's generated, that's earmarked for education, winds up going to the state coffers first, to be then redistributed back. And, well, I just advocate, of course, here for Clark County, for my community. So, quite frankly, I would like to have seen that money that's generated and supposed to be heading for education, that money just stay right here in Clark County.
So if all these other states have anti-monopoly clauses, if you will, built into their legislation, why doesn't Nevada have a stronger anti-monopoly sentiment?
I'm not quite sure. I don't want to go ahead and speak, for the the state personnel legislators that have figured this out so far. I think part of it is because, again, although the voters long time ago actually approved this, right?
Yeah.
I don't think we've actually had a real great time sitting down and figuring out what it wants to be. In part, many of the people who make policy just have not been all that familiar with these rules, these laws, and I think they haven't given a whole lot of thought. But we still, since we are still just beginning to grow here, there's time to make changes now to ensure that we have an equitable, a nice, smooth playing field for everybody.
Say there's 30 companies that are cultivators in your town. They're not attached to a dispensary currently. If those businesses went out of business, what would the implications for the city of North Las Vegas and its budget be?
Well, it wouldn't be great. I'm happy to say that the cannabis industry has actually helped us, move a couple of points over to solvency because of the fees that are paid by our growers, by our retailers. Again, you mentioned yourself. We're probably the largest cultivator, citywide, than any other municipality. And we're talking about not just, the fees that are paid by, and taxes that are paid by these companies, but also, we have to look at the employment of each one of these cultivators, Some of them are smaller operations, 10 or 15 people. Some are larger with between 60 and 100 people. So we're talking about, a fairly substantial blow.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time and your friendship over the years. It's been great.
Thank you very
Isaac.
much.